Patricia, and today I'll be taking you through CSS attribute selectors. So before I take you through attribute selectors, I want to explain what attributes are. So attributes are pieces or extra piece of information which are added to HTML tag to define their behavior properties or additional meaning, and they always appear inside opening tags. So you can see opening tags like this input tag here. You can see it here. So, and you can see this anchor tag here. So we are saying that these attributes, they are added to HTML tag to define their behavior properties or additional meaning. So you can see this type is equal to text, placeholder is equal to name. You can see required here. So this is to actually inform you that the kind of input that is required here is actually a text, and also to the placeholder will give you a hint of what you are supposed to input. You are not supposed to input, let's say, your school name, but from here they are trying to inform you that you are supposed to input your name. And you can see another example here with the email, and also for this one to the anchor tag with the href. This is actually to tell the browser where the link should go. So this is to tell the browser where the link should go. So this is actually where you input a link. Then for the image, we have the src. So src is basically the source of the image. It could be an image, video, or a script. So yes, this ought to, they are also like attributes. Yes, class, all these ones are attributes. So yeah, so this is what attributes are, and I hope you understand what they are, because we are basically going to be using them in the applying them with the attribute selectors. What attributes are, what are there for attribute selectors? So attribute selectors are used to select and style HTML elements with a specific attribute or both attributes, value, or both. So there are quite a number of types of attributes. So what we are saying that attribute selectors helps you to select or style elements with specific attributes. We all understand now what attributes are, how to identify them. So with the help of attribute selectors, we are able to apply our CSS style property to them. So I'll be taking you through the ones you can see here. So let's start with the first one. So the first one is the attributes here inside a square bracket. So what this means is that this is to help you to select elements with a specific attribute. So basically this is like the definition of how you are actually supposed to start applying your CSS style property to. So looking at the first one here in our HTML, we can see we have two inputs. Types are basically the same, just that their placeholders are different. But you can see that there is one difference between these two, and this is the required that is making them different apart from the placeholders. But you can see the first input tag has required, the second one doesn't have. So with the help of the first kind of CSS attribute selector, we are saying it helps you to select elements with a specific attribute. So we basically want to style this input tag here. So what we can do is that we have our input tag, then mind you need the square brackets, then you input that specific attribute it has. So let's apply a border of 2 pixels, solid blue. So you can see in our page here that now the CSS property style has been applied here. You can see it has been applied here. So let me give an example where you can basically use this. So imagine a company has a registration form and you want all the required fields to automatically show a red border without manually adding classes to each input. So imagine we have this input and it has like quite a number of them, right? It has quite a number of them and you don't want to have specific. So let's say if I have, let me copy this one here, then it's like I have a class name for this, I have a class name for this, then it's like I have to apply that one specific CSS property to each of them. But with the attributes, the specific attributes being added, we are just able to automatically, like we are just able to apply that one specific CSS property that will affect similar inputs with that specific attribute, which is the required. So let's say if maybe a backend team would add more inputs like required field later, they are just what they are basically doing is to just apply the inputs with the required field. They don't need to manually they don't need to manually um add classes to style them or something. Immediately they just add any input with the required. You can see that when I added an input, automatically the CSS style property is there. So this is what the first one is about. The next type of CSS attribute selector is basically this one. So it's used to select elements with a specific attribute whose value can be exactly the specific value or start with the specific value followed by a hyphen. So what we are basically trying to say is that this kind of type of CSS attribute selector is to help you to select elements with a specific attribute whose value can be exactly the specific value. So looking at this div here with the input tag, we have type being equal to email, we have the type being equal to text. So we can see that these ones are specific attributes and their value are also specific, right? Their value are also specific. So with this one, we can if we want to start this input tag here, we can apply this kind of attribute selector. So don't forget the properties and what it's supposed to do. So we have our input, and looking at this, we have our type 2. So you can see that we are actually targeting that specific value. So let's say background color is light yellow. So you can see that the background color has been changed to light yellow. So let's apply a different one. So don't forget about this one, there are differences. So we can see that this one has been changed to light green. Looking at our HTML, we can see that this type is email and this type is text. They have the same attribute, but just that their values are different. This one, the value is email, this one, the value is text. Okay, so this is all about this kind of CSS attribute selector. CSS attribute selector is this. So this helps you to select elements with the specific attribute whose value starts with a specific value. So let's go to our HTML file. So we are trying to style the A tag, and looking at this href, which is the attribute, it has its value. Now its value starts with HTTPS. So with HTTPS, we want to style this we want to style this A tag, right? But just that you can see that this value, it starts with a specific value, or let me say words or something. So you can see this value here, which is the external link. It starts with HTTPS. So we would want to apply the CSS style to the A tag. So with the help of this kind of CSS attribute selector, so let's say we have our A tag, and so we are referencing our specific attributes. Take note of the symbol as well. So HTTPS. So you can see that the value it starts with is what? Not it ends with. It starts with HTTPS. So let's change the color to indigo. Okay, you wouldn't see it clearly. Let me change it to red. So you can see the color has been changed to red. So yeah, so this is all about this kind of CSS selector. So basically, where can this thing be applied? So maybe you create a website that has like a link, then what you do is that you change the color of that link, you change it to a specific color, so that it helps user understand that clicking on that link is to take them away from the website. So we can, this is basically applied in, let's say, privacy policy links, blog references. Yeah, kind of CSS attribute selector I'll be taking you through is this one. So it's basically helps you to select elements whose attributes ends with a specific value. So let's take this one. We have our image tag here, then we have our source attributes here. So this value contains the source of the image, where the image was located and all that. So we basically want to style this image, but just that we are actually taking the last value that this source of image has. So we have .jpg. So that's what we are going to do here. So we have our image tag, and we have the src attribute, the dollar symbol. Please take note of these symbols. Then we have then let's give it a border radius of 20 pixels. So you can see now the border radius has been changed to 20 pixels. You can see there's a difference here with respect to their border radius. So basically, this image, it doesn't always have like does jpg. It can end with png. Like, just make sure that you target the last value in like the value here, the source attribute value here. Next type of css attribute selector is this one. So what is basically used for is that it's used to select elements whose attribute value contains a specific word. So it's used to select elements whose attributes value contain a specific word. So let's take the last div here. We can see the a tag with the href having its value here. Now you can see that it has user, it has login. The second one too has dashboard. So we want to actually style, okay, let's style like the first one, but just that we are taking specific value here. So let's say we will take the login, we take the login word here and style it. So let's come here and we have our a tag with the href. Please once again take note of the symbols. So let me change the color to brown. So you can see that the color has been changed to brown. You can see that the color has been changed to brown. So let's see where can this kind of attributes be selector be applied. So let's say on a website and it has many links and you want all the URL containing, let's say, login or auth, so like authentication or something, to be highlighted for quick access. So that's where you can apply this css attribute selector. So basically it's good for let's say dashboard and admin interfaces that has like login or logout links. So yes, so basically this is all about css attribute selector. I hope you understand what css attribute selector is, the types, and the types, where to apply them. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for watching my YouTube channel.